Ramadan is a month of fasting and prayer. It brings us closer to Allah and each other. It brings us closer to Allah and each other.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen. Amma ba'd, fa'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabiyallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurallah. The Prophet of mankind, the peace of our heart and mind, the most generous and kind, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, has stated, the one who recites salawat upon me 50 times in a day, on the day of judgment, I will shake hands with him. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, my dear viewers, in this beautiful silsila of the blessings of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, in the last episode, I discussed about the parables of fasting people. And inshallah, even in this episode, I shall discuss about the parables of fasting people. Let's listen to a few parables about fasting people. Ramadan was approaching. The prominent historian Sayyiduna Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh had nothing to meet his needs. He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh wrote a letter to his Alawi friend stating, Ramadan is approaching and I have nothing to spend. Please send 1,000 dirhams to me as debt. So the Alawi sent a bag containing 1,000 dirhams to him. After a short while, Sayyidina Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh received a letter from his another friend with the following message. I need 1,000 dirhams to spend in the month of Ramadan. Sayyidina Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh sent the bag of dirhams to him. The next day, the Alawi friend who gave Sayyidina Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh the dirhams and the friend who received the dirhams from Sayyidina Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh both came to the house of Sayyidina Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh. Alawi friend said, Ramadan is arriving and I had nothing except for those 1,000 dirhams. When I received your letter, I gave all of my 1,000 dirhams to you for my own need. I wrote a letter to this friend of mine to lend me 1,000 dirhams. He sent me the same bag of dirhams I sent to you. I sent to you the bag of dirhams which you sent to him, and he sent it to me again. With mutual consent, they agreed to distribute the money equally among themselves. The following night, Sayyidina Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh was privileged to see the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam in his dream. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam said, Inshallah, you'll get a lot tomorrow. Hence the following day, the chief, Yahya Barmaki, called Sayyidina Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh and said, I saw you in trouble last night in my dream. What's the matter? Sayyidina Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh explained to him the entire story. Yahya Barmaki responded, I am unable to decide as to which of you is more generous. You are all generous and deserve to be respected. The chief then gave 30,000 dirhams to Sayyidina Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh and 20,000 dirhams each to the other two. Further, he appointed Sayyidina Waqidi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh as a judge as well. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on them and forgive us without any accountability for their sake. Ameen. My dear viewers, true Muslims are generous, courteous, self-sacrificing, and considerate. In order to remove the difficulty and anguish of a Muslim brother, they would even tolerate their own difficulties and inconveniences. We also have learned from this parable that generosity is a very beneficial deed which does not decrease but increases the wealth of a person further. This parable also shows us that the Prophet al-Rahmah, the intercessor of Ummah, the owner of Jannah, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, is aware of the state of his Ummah, and he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam blesses those who demonstrate generosity. Verily, there are many virtues of making sacrifice for others. The Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam has said, Allah Azza wa Jal forgives the person who gives someone else the thing he needs for himself. Let's listen to another parable. Sayyidina Abdullah bin Ghalib Haddani, Quddisa Sirruhu Rabbani, the hadith teacher of Sayyidina Imam Qatada radiyallahu ta'ala an, was martyred. After the burial, the soil of the blessed grave smelt of musk. Someone saw him in a dream and asked, Ma sunyat, how were you treated? He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi replied, Allah Azza wa Jal forgave me. The dreaming person further asked where he was taken to. He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi replied, heaven. The dreaming person then inquired, due to which deed? He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi replied, perfect iman, the hajjud, and summer fast. Finally, he rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi was asked, why does fragrance emanate from your grave? He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi replied, this is the fragrance of my recitation and thirst I bore in fast. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on him and forgive us without accountability for his sake. For dear viewers, similarly, the fragrance of musk used to emanate from the soil of the blessed grave of Sayyidina Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. Soil used to be added to his grave repeatedly, but people would take it as relic due to fragrance. Likewise, the fragrance of musk used to emanate from the grave of the author of Dalailul Khairat, Sheikh Sayyid Muhammad bin Sulaiman Jazuli rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, who used to recite salat upon the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam in abundance. 77 years after his demise, his body was transferred from Sousse to Morocco for some legitimate reason. When his blessed body was exhumed, it was in an absolutely fine state, quite untouched. There was no sign of decay. Even his shroud did not get dirty at all. Prior to his demise, he had his beard lawfully trimmed. He looked as if the beard was just trimmed today. Someone put a finger onto his cheek and pressed. The cheeks became pale due to blood circulation, just like an alive person. Here's a parable regarding the blessings of fasting in Ramadan and the 6th fast after Eid. Sayyidina Sufyan Saudi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi has stated, once I stayed in Makkatul Mukarramah, Zadaha Allahu sharafan wa ta'adima. At around midday, a person from Makkah would perform tawaf of the holy Kaaba and 2 rakat salah daily. He would say salam to me and then return to his home. I had developed a liking for that pious person. One day, he fell seriously ill. I went to visit him. He was on his deathbed. Handing his will over to me, he said, when I die, give me ghusl and lead my funeral salah. And after burial, please don't leave me alone. Stay at my graveside the whole night and perform talqeen at the time of the arrival of the angels, Munkar and Nakir. I agreed to fulfill his will. When he died, I acted upon his will. While I was sitting beside his grave, I fell asleep. I heard a voice from Ghaib saying, O Sufyan, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, he doesn't require talqeen and your closeness because we have ourselves comforted him and made talqeen to him. I asked, due to which deed has he been granted this status? The voice spoke, due to the blessings of the fast of Ramadan and the 6th fast of Shawwal. Sayyidina Sufyan Saudi, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, stated, I saw this dream 3 times in that night alone, and politely beseeched Allah Azza wa Jal, "Bi Allah Azza wa Jal, with your grace and benevolence, give me also the ability to observe these fasts. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on him and forgive us without accountability for his sake." Now present to you a beautiful parable regarding the moon of Ramadan. Once there was some controversy regarding the appearance of the moon of Ramadan. Some people said that the moon had appeared, while some others denied. A respected and honorable mother of Sayyidina Ghawsi Azam radiyallahu ta'ala an spoke, "My son doesn't drink milk during the days of Ramadan. As he has not drunk milk today, the moon of Ramadan may well have appeared last night." Hence, after further findings and observations, it came out that the moon had appeared last night. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on him and forgive us with our accountability for his sake. Ameen. My dear viewers, in order to develop the love of Ghawsi Azam radiyallahu ta'ala an and other blessed saints rahimahumullah ta'ala in your heart, always remain associated and attached with the Madani environment of Dawat Islami and gain great blessings. Here's a faith refreshing Madani incident for your encouragement. An Islamic brother from Gulistan-e-Mustafa, Babul Medina, Karachi, has stated, "I invited a brother to attend the 3-day global ijtima of Dawat Islami being held in Multan. His daughter was a patient of liver cancer. With the intention of making dua for his daughter, he participated in the ijtima. He made dua abundantly with intense humility in the ijtima. Alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal, having returned from the ijtima, he got his daughter's tests carried out. To the utter astonishment of doctors, the test results showed no cancer at all. The entire team of doctors was amazed as to how the cancer that is considered an incurable disease was cured. Prior to his participation in the ijtima, the condition of his daughter was so serious that pus used to be drawn from her body by a syringe on a daily basis. But by the blessings of participating in the ijtima, that girl has completely recovered from cancer. Alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal, she has now been healthy and has got married as well. Here's a parable regarding the 3 fasts of Ahlul Bayt radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. Once in childhood, Sayyidina Hassan and Sayyidina Hussein radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma became ill. Sayyidina Ali karramallahu ta'ala wajhahul kareem, Sayyidatuna Fatima and their slave girl, Sayyidatuna Fidda radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, vowed to fast for 3 days for the health of the 2 princes, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. Allah Azza wa Jal blessed both princes with health, and hence 3 fasts were observed. Sayyidina Ali karramallahu ta'ala wajhahul kareem brought 3 sa', almost 300 grams of barley. They used 100 grams each day. Breads were served to them at the time of iftar. On the first day, a destitute person came and begged for bread. On the second and third day, an orphan and a captive came respectively, and they also begged for bread. Therefore, all the breads were given to them each day. And Sayyidina Ali karramallahu ta'ala wajhahul kareem, Sayyidatuna Fatima radiyallahu ta'ala anha and their slave girl did iftar with mere water and fasted the next day without eating anything. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on them and forgive us without any accountability for their sake. Ameen. Bijahil Nabil Ameen sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned the faith-refreshing sacrifice of his beloved Rasul's daughter and her family in Surah Ad-Dahr, verse 8 and 9. وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. Translation from Kanzul Iman. And they feed for love of him, the poor, the orphan, and the prisoner. They say to them, We feed you only for the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal. We desire no recompense or thanks from you. Subhanallah Azza wa Jal. This faith refreshing parable clearly shows the enthusiasm of Ahlul Bayt radiyallahu ta'ala anhum to make sacrifice for others. To keep 3 fasts with mere water isn't easy. When we fast, we are served with cold and sweet drinks, fried dishes, fresh fruits, and other delicious foods at the time of iftar. This type of great sacrifice in the state of poverty was indeed an extraordinarily righteous deed. The excellence of sacrifice mentioned in the previous parable is being presented again. The Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam has said, Allah Azza wa Jal forgives the person who gives someone else the thing he needs for himself. Pay heed to the following part of the blessed Quranic verse, which shows the greatness and grandeur of the Ahlul Bayt. We only feed you for the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal. We desire no recompense or thanks from you. These Quranic words express a high degree of sincerity. If only we too learn how to perform every deed merely for the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal, if only we assist and benefit others, expecting nothing from them, not even a word of appreciation and thanks. When helping someone or giving food or money to a beggar, it is better not to even say to him, remember me in dua, as it also seems a type of reward in exchange for your good deed. Now, whether or not he makes dua for us, and whether or not his dua is accepted in our favor, it is simply our fate. Sayyidina Dawud Ta'i, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, observed fast successively for 40 years. He was so sincere in his worship that he would not let even his family know about his fast. While going to work at noon, he would take along with him meal which he would give to someone on the way. After Maghrib, he would arrive home and eat food. Subhanallah Azza wa Jal. This is a superb level of sincerity. Sayyidina Dawud Ta'i rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi had great control over his nafs. It is mentioned in Tazkiratul Awliya that once he was busy with worship on a hot summer day in the sunshine, his respected mother said, son, it would be better if you came under a shade. He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi politely replied, dear mother, I feel ashamed of following and satisfying my nafs and its desire. Once, someone saw his water pot in the sunshine and said, Sayyidi, it would be better if you placed it in the shade. He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi replied, when I had placed it there, it was under the shade, but now I feel ashamed of putting it in the shade just to please my nafs, giving up the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal. On another occasion, while he rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi was reciting the Holy Quran, somebody requested him to come under a shade. He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi replied, I dislike obeying my nafs. In other words, the nafs is also insisting me that I come in a shade, but I cannot obey it. The following night, he rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi passed away. After his demise, a voice from Ghaib was heard. Dawud Ta'i has attained absolution because Allah Azza wa Jal is pleased with him. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on him and forgive us without any accountability for his sake. I also pray to Allah Azza wa Jal that He gives us all the ability that we adopt the regular blessed habit of fasting, and may Allah Azza wa Jal give us the ability that we follow our pious predecessors, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, in the way and manners they fasted as well. Ameen. Bijahin Nabil Ameen sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam.
Ramadan is a month of fasting and prayer. It brings us closer to Allah and each other. It brings us closer to Allah and each other.